As Finya confessed about her feelings, Bua stood frozen, unable to process Finya's words. Her heart raced, and her mind went blank. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Finya's gaze was intense, searching her face for any sign of what she was feeling. Bua finally took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside her. She pulled away gently, breaking their close contact. Bua said, "Finya, I don't know what you want me to say." Finya's expression softened, her hand dropping to her side. Finya said, "You don't have to say anything, Bua. I just needed you to know." Bua looked away, her eyes drifting to the floor. She wasn't sure how to respond, and the silence between them felt heavy. After a moment, Bua finally spoke, with her quiet voice. This is a lot. I didn't expect any of this from you." Finya nodded, her face full of understanding, and said, "I know, and I'm not asking for anything in return. I just needed to tell you." Bua looked back at her, her mind swirling with emotions she couldn't quite understand. She felt conflicted, torn between the way she'd always felt about Finya and the unexpected emotions now bubbling up. Bua said, I need some time to think." Finya gave her a small, reassuring smile and said, "Take all the time you need, Bua. I'll be here when you're ready." Bua nodded, then turned and walked towards her bedroom, leaving Finya standing quietly in the living room. Bua entered her bedroom, closing the door behind her, but it felt like the silence was closing in on her. She leaned against the door, her heart pounding in her chest. Finya's words kept echoing in her mind. "I came back for you." The weight of Finya's confession was heavy on her, and Bua couldn't shake the strange mix of emotions swirling inside her: confusion, fear, and something else she couldn't quite identify. Bua thinks, what if this changes everything? She closed her eyes, trying to calm the storm inside her. Maybe Finya didn't expect anything more than just a confession. But for Bua, this was a lot to process. Could she even think about what Finya had said, without everything else falling apart? She stood by the window, looking out at the city lights. But even the calm outside couldn't quiet her racing thoughts. She found herself wondering, was it really possible that Finya had come back for her? Meanwhile, in the living room, Finya remained seated on the couch, waiting for Bua to return. She knew the situation was complicated, but she also knew that what she'd said was the truth. No matter what happened next, Finya couldn't regret being honest. Finally, unable to bear the suffocating silence of her room any longer, Bua opened the door and stepped out. Hesitantly, she moved towards it, her heart pounding with each step. She came to the living room to see if Finya had left, but when she saw Finya was still there, her heart fluttered. Bua said softly, looking at Finya, "You know, Finya, sometimes I wonder how we got here. It's like we're standing at the edge of something we can't turn away from." Finya said with gently touching Bua's hand, "I know. It's like we're walking on a line that keeps getting thinner, and every step closer makes it harder to turn back. But I don't want to. Do you?" Bua looks at her, her expression a mixture of fear and longing. She gently pulls her hand away, standing up and walking to the window, staring outside, as though trying to find something she can't quite explain. Bua said quietly, "I'm afraid of losing you, of crossing a line that we can't uncross." Finya, always the more forward of the two, steps closer to Bua, her breath warm on Bua's neck as she whispers. Finya came close, her breath making Bua shiver. Finya said, "I don't want to be afraid anymore. I want to feel all of this with you." Bua turned slowly, their faces now inches apart. The vulnerability in her eyes is clear as she searches for the right words. Bua, with a tremor in her voice, said, "You're sure about this, Pina? This isn't just about desire. This is something deeper. Something that can't be undone." Pina takes a deep breath, holding Bua's gaze as if silently saying that she's ready for whatever this connection brings. Will they embrace the connection they've found? Or will the fear of crossing a line be too much to bear? Stay tuned, because what comes next might surprise you. The path ahead is full of twists, and nothing is guaranteed. What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.